After ruling for 442 years, Tar-Miniatur died of old age, leaving his eldest son, Tar-Vardamir, to inherit the royal scepter. Yet Tar-Vardamir felt too advanced in age for the responsibility, and so abdicated in favor of his son, Tar-Amandil, who ruled until the year 590 of the Second Age, when he stepped down in favor of his heir, Tar-Elendil, whose reign saw the explorer Veantur, captain of the king's ships, become the first to sail east and land upon the Grey Havens of Middle-earth in the year 600 SA, where he established a friendship and alliance with Gil-galad, High King of the Noldor Elves. In the year 740, Elendil abdicated in favor of his third-born child, Tar-Meneldur, passing over his two older daughters because the law forbid women from ruling. Nevertheless, Elendil's firstborn child, Silmarien, had a tremendous impact on the history of their people, as her son, Valandil, was granted the hereditary title Lord of Andúnie by his grandfather. Due to their kinship with the royal family, the Lord of Andúnie and his descendants were highly respected and prominent figures on the island, who would one day inherit the legacy and leadership of their people throughout the Third Age and beyond. Under Tar-Elendil and Tar-Meneldur, Numenor further explored Middle-earth, and through their friendship with the elves, were contacted by the middlemen, human tribes descended from the Atanatari who did not pass beyond the Blue Mountains during their migration west. Sharing common ancestry with the middlemen through the houses of Beor and Hador, the Numenorians recognized linguistic similarities and so considered them kinsmen, establishing friendly relations and trade, while also imparting knowledge about better agricultural techniques, more advanced forms of crafting, and lessons in smithwork. As the Dunedain settled their own colonies, they even intermixed with the middlemen, allowing their languages to combine and create Westron, which became the common speech of men in the Third Age. Unfortunately, the Numenorians did not feel this same camaraderie with the tribes descended from the Haladin, despite sharing kinship, as they spoke a different, less intelligible language, and so were not counted as middlemen and treated with hostility. In the year 883 SA, Tar-Meneldur abdicated in favor of his son Tar-Aldarion, who was estranged from his wife Erendis, and therefore produced only one child, a daughter Aranel, who was legally prohibited from inheriting the throne. Unsatisfied with this tradition, the king changed the laws of succession from agnatic to cognatic primogeniture, ensuring that the eldest child, regardless of sex, would be named royal heir. Therefore, when Tar-Aldarion abdicated in 1075, his daughter Aranel took the name Tar-Ankhalime to become the first queen of Numenor. Ruling until the year 1280, Ankhalime relinquished the royal scepter for her son Tar-Anarion, who did the same in 1394 for his third-born child Tar-Ciryatan, as his two elder daughters refused the crown. Tar-Ciryatan reigned until 1556, when he was succeeded by his daughter Tar-Telperion, the second ever queen of Numenor. During the reign of Tar-Telperion, a great conflict erupted in Middle-earth, when the second Dark Lord Sauron tricked the elves of Eregion into forging 19 rings of power in the hopes of controlling them with his own Master Ring forged in the fires of Mount Doom. When his plan failed, the Dark Lord attempted to take the rings by force, resulting in the War of the Elves, and Sauron fought from 1693 to 1701. Though Tar-Telperion was reluctant to involve herself in the affairs of Middle-earth, her nephew and heir, Menastir, answered Gil-galad's call for reinforcements, sending the commander Kiriatur with a vast army and fleet. Splitting their forces in two, the Numenorians defeated their enemies in the north at the Battle of Sarn Ford, and again in the south near the Gwathlo River, before striking a final blow in the east of Calenardon, forcing Sauron back into Mordor, broken and humiliated. As Tar-Telperion never married or produced a child, it was her nephew Tar-Menastir who inherited the scepter in 1731. Seeking to secure the lands of their allies from further invasion, Tar-Menastir established permanent settlements in Middle-earth. However, his son, Tar-Ciryatan, did not feel the same allegiance to the elves, and so when he took the scepter in 1869, dedicated his reign to expanding their imperial power, sending ships to colonize every corner of the world, while demanding tribute from the peoples of Middle-earth. It was under Tar-Ciryatan that Numenorian attitudes towards their friends and allies changed, including a growing resentment felt towards the ban of the Valar, preventing them from sailing westward. Though the Valar, Maiar, and Elves were all permitted to live in Valinor upon the continent of Aman, experiencing the enchanted paradise for as long as they wished, mortal men were forbidden from traveling to these sacred lands. Under Tar-Ciryatan, many started to see this as an injustice, unable to comprehend why the Noldor elves, who once rebelled against the Valar and voluntarily left the Undying Lands, were later allowed to return, but the High Men of Numenor, who fought for the Valar in the War of Wrath, were not permitted. Understanding their confusion and seeking to answer their questions, the Valar sent emissaries to explain that the world of Arda was the eternal home of the elves, who were fated to experience its pleasures and weariness until the day of doom and end of all things. For this reason, the firstborn children of Eru felt a special connection to the natural world and were invited to enjoy the paradise of the Undying Lands. This world, however, was not the final home of men, who were only temporary visitors, enduring short lives of relative hardship because a second secret destiny awaited them after death. Were humans allowed to travel to the Undying Lands and enjoy the bliss of this paradise, they would be granted both the gifts of elves and men, which in turn would be a true injustice that Eru would not allow. Yet this explanation did not satisfy the men of Numenor, who responded that awaiting a second, unknown destiny after death required an unreasonable amount of faith, as they could not be certain of Eru's intentions or the majesty of this other fate. Traveling west to the Undying Lands, however, was something they could accomplish within their lifetimes, ensuring joy and pleasure in this world. Despite their arguments, the emissaries of the Valar would not relent, and so relations worsened over time, with Numenorian anger and fear of death increasing, which then diminished their blessings from Eru, shortening their extended lifespans, and pushing them further towards an imperialist mindset they used to expand their empire and conquer the world. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Barachado, Sir Rick Lone, The Grand Pope, and Lady J Book Nerd. If you'd like to help the channel, you can sign up for membership through the YouTube Join button, buy merchandise from the store page, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can get early access to videos, vote on future content, and access the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.